For this project I used 3 crochet hooks. I used my J 6mm crochet hook as well as my E or 3.5mm crochet hook and my G or 4mm crochet hook. You're also going to need your tapestry needle and a pair of scissors. The yarn that I used is Bernat Baby Coordinates. It's a real pretty yarn called His Jeans. And here is the pretty yarn. This is what I have left over after making the dress. So this yarn actually goes a long way. You can make quite a bit with it. And I used Sugar and Cream, the 100% cotton white yarn. And this is how much yarn I have left over. So this also goes a long way too, which is why I like it. And I used Karen's Simply Soft, and this is Lavender Blue. Okay, the first thing we're going to make is the top. So you're going to use both the white 100% cotton yarn as well as the color that you're using for your top. And I'm going to start with the slip knot. So you're just going to take both yarns and fold them over to form a loop. And I'm using my G crochet hook or 4mm crochet hook. I'm going to put it right through the loop. And then you're going to hold the base of the loop with your middle finger and your thumb. Then you're going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, grab both yarns and pull them through the loops on your hook. For your slip knot. And then you're going to chain the length of the size that you want for your top. So I'm going to show you how to do the chains. You're just going to yarn over both yarns, turn the hook upside down and go through your loop for chain 1, 2, I'm just going to show you a couple, 3, make sure that you grab both yarns in your loop, 4, so you can see how I'm doing my chains and how it's looking. And you're just going to keep on making your chains until you have a chain of 60. Now we're going to do our first half double crochet. So you're just going to take your middle finger and thumb and hold that last stitch that you made. And now you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and that's going to count as your first half double crochet. And now you're going to do a half double crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook, which is the stitch that you're holding with your thumb and middle finger. So you're going to yarn over and go into that 3rd stitch from the hook. And then you're going to bring up a loop with both yarns. And then you're going to yarn over and go through all 3 loops for your half double crochet. And then you're going to do a half double crochet into every stitch back across to the beginning. So I'm going to do a few of them with you. Oh, that one I lost the second. Redo that one. So just make sure that you have both yarn loops as you're working your half double crochets. And you can see how I'm doing my half double crochets all the way across back to the beginning. I'm going to do one more with you. And then just go ahead and finish doing your half double crochets all the way across back to the beginning and then come back. This is how your work should be looking. And I just finished my last half double crochet in that last stitch. Now you're going to take and fold your work in half. and you're going to do a slip stitch into the top stitch of that first half double crochet that you did. And you're going to take, after your hook is through that top of that top stitch, you're going to yarn over both yarn and pull both yarns through the loops on your hook for a slip stitch. Then you're going to go ahead and chain 2. 1, 2. That's going to be your first half double crochet. But now what you're going to do is just take your tapestry needle to that bottom loose yarn end, because you're going to go ahead and sew the bottom ends together as well. So you're just going to go into that bottom stitch with your tapestry needle and connect both sides. Make sure you bring both yarn ends through. And then you're going to go ahead and tie a knot. And then you're just going to take your tapestry needle and just make sure that you've sewn that bottom end in well. Just go back through one more time. And then I'm just going to tie another knot. And that just makes sure that it won't come undone. And then you can bury your loose yarn ends. But we'll go ahead and bury our loose yarn ends at the end. So I just wanted to make sure that I've attached. So I've attached the bottom. And then you can go back to working in rounds now. Now we're going to do our half double crochet cross stitch. And what you're going to do is you're going to yarn over and you're going to skip a stitch and then work into the next stitch over. You're going to bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through all 3 for a half double crochet. And then you're going to yarn over and you're going to go back into that skipped stitch, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through all 3. And then you have your cross stitch. And we're going to do that all the way around. I'm going to do a couple more with you. So I'm going to yarn over, I'm going to skip a stitch, work into the next stitch, bring up a loop, 3 loops on my hook, yarn over and go through all 3 for a half double crochet. I'm going to yarn over, go into that skipped stitch, bring up a loop, yarn over and go through all 3 loops for a half double crochet. You can see how I'm forming a nice cross stitch. So I'm going to do one more with you, and then I'm going to let you finish doing cross stitches all the way around. Okay, so now you should be back to where you first started, and we're going to do a slip stitch into the top of that first stitch that we made, and just yarn over and bring the yarn through both loops on your hook for a slip stitch. And then we're going to go ahead and take the white yarn and make sure you leave a long enough end for sewing into your work, and just go ahead and cut it because we don't need it anymore. And just tie a knot. Now you're going to go ahead and chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to bury the white yarn as we work. So we're going to continue doing the half double crochets, cross stitches all the way around. So you're going to take your yarn and yarn over, and you're going to skip a stitch and go into the next stitch, bring up a loop. Yep. Do that again. I'm getting stuck on, let me try one more time. Sorry about that. Okay, there we go. Now I have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through all 3 for your half double crochet. Then you're going to yarn over and go back into the stitch that you skipped, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through all 3 for a half double crochet cross stitch. And you're going to do those all the way around back to the beginning. So I'm going to do a few with you. Just yarn over, skip a stitch, go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through all 3 for your cross stitch. Your half double crochet. And then you're going to yarn over, go into the skipped stitch, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through all 3 for your cross stitch. And you're just going to do those all the way around, just like you did on the previous row, back to the beginning and then come back. When you get back to where you first started, your first half double crochet, you're going to work into that stitch right on the other side of that first half double crochet. So you're going to take and yarn over and then go into that stitch, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through all 3 for a half double crochet, and then you're going to go into the top of that first half double crochet that we made, and you're going to yarn over and go through both loops on your hook for a slip stitch, and then you have your last half double crochet cross stitch completed. And then you're going to go ahead and chain 2, 1, 2, and then you're going to do the same thing all the way around. You're going to yarn over, skip a stitch, go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through all 3 for a half double crochet, yarn over, go into the skipped stitch, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through all 3 for a half double crochet. So you did your half double crochet cross stitch, and you're going to do that all the way around. I'm going to do one more with you. So go ahead and do your half double crochet cross stitches all the way around back to your first half double crochet, and then I'll show you how to do that last half double crochet to move up to the next row. Alright, so you should be back to where you started. And again, I'm just going to show you. Here is the first half double crochet. Go a little bit closer. The first half double crochet that we created. And there's the stitch right here. We're going to work right into that stitch. So you're going to go ahead and yarn over. And then go into that stitch. Bring up a loop. 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over and go through all 3 for a half double crochet, and then you're going to go into the top stitch of that first half double crochet, and then you're going to yarn over and bring the yarn through both loops on your hook for your last cross stitch. And you're going to keep doing the same thing until you've completed a total of 8 rows. So far we've done 2. So go ahead and finish completing 6 more and then come back and I'll show you what to do next. I'm going to do the first one with you. You go ahead and just chain 2, 1, 2. That's your first half double crochet. Yarn over, skip a stitch, go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through all 3 for a half double crochet, yarn over, go in the skipped stitch, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through all 3 for cross stitch. So go ahead and do those all the way around and do 6 more rows for a total of 8, and then come back and I'll show you what to do next. You should have finished 8 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we're going to go ahead and do the bottom portion of the dress. If you're making the tutu portion of the dress, then you can continue making it a little bit longer if you want for the top, or you can finish off here. And to finish off, you would just go into the next, you would actually just yarn over and pull the yarn through the loop to finish off. But if you're making the dress portion, you're just going to continue making the bottom of the dress. To make the bottom of the dress, the first thing we're going to do is chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and that's going to count as your first double crochet. Now we're going to do another double crochet into the same stitch. So you're going to yarn over, go into the same stitch, bring up a loop. You have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, and then yarn over and go through 2. So now you have 2 double crochet. Now we're going to chain 2. 1, 2, and now we're going to do 2 more double crochet into the same stitch. Now we're going to skip 2 spaces, 1, 2, and then we're going to work into that 3rd space. So you're going to yarn over, you're going to skip 2 spaces, 1, 2, and work into the 3rd stitch, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, and then yarn over and go through 2. Now we're going to create the same pattern as that first one that we did. So you're going to do another double crochet in the same stitch. Then you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then you're going to do 2 more double crochet in the same stitch. You're going to repeat this pattern all the way around back to the beginning. So I'm going to do one more with you. Going to skip 2 spaces or 2 stitches. 1, 2. You're going to work into the 3rd stitch, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, yarn over and go through 2. Then we do another double crochet in the same stitch. Then you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then 2 more double crochet. So go ahead and finish doing this pattern all the way around back to the beginning, and then come back and I'll show you how to slip stitch and move up to the next row. You should be back to the beginning, and I have 3 stitches left here. If you would like, you could put one more into the 2nd stitch, but I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch off. So I'm going to go to the top of that first double crochet. Then I'm going to yarn over and pull the yarn through both loops on the hook to slip stitch. And then you're going to slip stitch into the next double crochet or the next stitch over. Actually, you can go ahead and just go right into the center, the chain 2 center. Just go right in there. And you're going to yarn over, bring the yarn down through that space and through the loop on your hook for a slip stitch. And now we're going to work into each of the chain 2 spaces around. So now you can go ahead and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. That will count as your first double crochet. Now we're going to do one more double crochet in the same spot. Yarn over, go into the same spot or space, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, and then yarn over and go through 2. So now we have our 2 double crochet. Go ahead and chain 2, 1, 2, and then do 2 more double crochet in the same space. Now you're going to work this same pattern in all of the chain 2 spaces around. So I'm going to do one more with you. I'm going to yarn over, go into the next chain 2 space, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, yarn over and go through 2. And that'll count as your first double crochet in the next chain 2 space. Just show you what that looks like. Now I'm going to do another double crochet in the same chain 2 space. Now I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to do 2 more double crochet in the same chain 2 space. Okay, so now you're going to go ahead and finish 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows, and then come back. Now we're going to join our purple color, and I'm using my Caron Simply Soft. And I'm going to go ahead and go into that chain 2 space and do a slip stitch. Then I'm going to join the purple yarn. So I'm just going to take and hook my purple yarn and bring it through. Then I'm going to go ahead and chain 1. Then I'm going to turn the work over and just tie a knot. You can go ahead and cut your previous yarn color because we're just going to work with the purple color now. Then you're going to take and chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to count as your first treble crochet. And then we're going to do 2 more treble crochet. So yarn over twice. Go into the same chain 2 space, bring up a loop. You have 4 loops on the hook. Yarn over and go through 2. Yarn over and go through 2. And then yarn over and go through 2. So yarn over twice. Go into the same chain 2 space, bring up a loop. 4 loops on the hook. Yarn over and go through 2. Yarn over and go through 2. Yarn over and go through 2. Then you're going to chain 2. 1, 2, and then do 3 more treble crochet in the same space. And at the same time, I'm burying my loose yarn ends as I work. And we're going to make this pattern all along the border of the bottom border of the dress. I'm going to show you one more. You're going to go ahead and make a treble crochet into the next chain 2 space. So you're going to yarn over twice, go into the next chain 2 space, bring up a loop, 4 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, yarn over and go through 2, and then yarn over and go through 2. Now we're going to do 2 more treble crochets in the same space. Then you're going to chain 2, and then you're going to do 3 more treble crochet into the same space. So go ahead and finish doing the same pattern in each chain 2 space all the way around, back to the beginning, and then come back. When you've reached the beginning, you're going to go ahead and do a slip stitch. Just go into the top stitch of that first treble crochet that you did. Yarn over and bring the yarn through both loops on the hook for a slip stitch. And now we're going to go ahead and finish off. So you just yarn over, pull the yarn through the loop, and just pull enough to bury into your work. I'm just doing a little bit extra to make sure I get it buried nicely. Now we're going to make the straps of the dress. So I've already done one side. I'm going to show you how to do the other side. You're going to need your purple yarn as well as the main color yarn. And we're going to do a slip knot first. So you're just going to fold the yarns over on themselves to form a loop with both. Then I'm taking my J crochet hook or 6mm crochet hook and going through the loop. And I'm going to hold the loop at the bottom of the loop with my middle finger and thumb. And then I'm going to yarn over both yarns and go through the loop for a slip knot. Then I'm going to go ahead and chain 35. So I'm going to do 4 with you. 1, 2, 3, 4. So go ahead and finish chaining 35 and then come back and I'll show you what to do next. Now you're going to go ahead and finish off, just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to tie onto your work and to bury the loose yarn ends. And then you're just going to take and push the work up on the string or yarn just to make the knot really tight, and do that on both ends. And now we're going to sew it onto the dress. So you're going to need your tapestry needle. Now you want to take the front of the dress, so make sure you look for the back where the seam is. Sometimes it's difficult to see, but try to find the seam in the back, and you want the side facing you that you want for the front, and you're going to put that seam midway and then fold the dress down, and you're going to count in 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's where you're going to go in with your strand. So we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. I'm going to count in 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm going to go through that superficial stitch with my tapestry needle. And then I'm going to come back through the first stitch on your strap And then you're going to go in through the next stitch over, or even right below the strap. And then you're going to tie a knot with the other yarn strand. And you can do this a couple times if you want, but I'm just going to tie a really good knot. And then I'm going to bury my loose yarn end. So on the inside, I'm going to take my yarn and I'm going to weave it through with my tapestry needle. And just make sure that you bury it really well. And you can do this a couple times if you want, just to make sure that it's buried. And I think that's good. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it. So go ahead and bury all your loose yarn ends, and then come back and we'll sew on the back strap. Now for the back strap, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to lay your work flat and then just go directly opposite where you went in for the front strap. And then come in through that first stitch of the strap. Then you're going to go in through the stitch right below the strap or the next one over and just go bring the yarn through to the other side. And I'm going to bring the other yarn end through too, so I can tie a knot. So then I'm going to go ahead and tie a knot. And then I'm going to go ahead and bury the loose yarn ends just like we did for the front. And then also on the other end of the strap, you can tie a knot just to make sure that it's really secure. And then once you've tied a knot on the other side again, you can just take, and you could either bury the loose yarn end along the strap, or you can do like I'm doing here and just leave about 1.5 centimeters and then just cut and leave a little bit on the end. So go ahead and do that and then come back and we'll see our product. Now you have a little cute sundress for the baby. And you could either leave it like this, or I'm going to show you how to put a little flower if you want a flower on it. Now to make the flower, I'm using my E hook, or a 3.5 millimeter crochet hook. And I'm using my purple yarn, and I'm going to go ahead and do a slip knot. So I'm going to fold the yarn over on itself to form a loop, and then I'm going to put the crochet hook through the loop and hold the base of the loop with my middle finger and thumb. Yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through that loop for a slip knot. Now I'm going to go ahead and chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to take my crochet hook, I'm going to go back into the first stitch I made with my crochet hook. And it helps to hold the yarn like this. And then you're going to take and yarn over, and you're going to turn the hook upside down and bring the yarn through both loops on your hook for a slip stitch. Then you're going to go into the center of the circle. And you're going to yarn over and bring up a loop. And you have 2 loops on the hook. yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through both loops for a single crochet. Then you're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to do a single crochet into the center of the circle. And we're going to do this 5 times. So that was 2, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, single crochet in the center of the circle for 3, 1, 2, 3, go into the center of the circle for a single crochet. That's 4. And you can move the stitches over. And we're going to do one more. 1, 2, 3, and then do a single crochet into the center of the circle. And then we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to do a slip stitch into that first single crochet that you did. Just yarn over and bring the yarn through both loops on the hook. For your slip stitch. And then you're going to single crochet into that first chain 3 loop. So here you can see your first chain 3 loop. You're going to go in there and do a single crochet, bring up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through both for a single crochet. And then you're going to do 5 double crochet into that same chain 3 space. You're going to yarn over, go in the same chain 3 space, bring up a loop. You have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2. And then yarn over and go through 2 for a double crochet. And you're going to do that 4 more times. Oop, I think I did it 2 on that one. So far I have 3 double crochet. So yarn over once, go into the same chain 3 space, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, yarn over and go through 2. So one more. And then do a single crochet. And then 1 petal is done. So now you're going to go into the next chain 3 space, do a single crochet, and then repeat the pattern. So go ahead and do that all the way around back to the beginning, and then come back and I'll show you what to do next. Now this is how your flower should be looking, and I just finished my last petal. Now I'm going to do a slip stitch into that first single crochet that I did on the first petal. I'm going to yarn over and bring the yarn through both loops on your hook for a slip stitch, and then you're going to finish off. You're going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through that loop and bring enough yarn to sew the flower onto your dress. Now you're going to take the front of the dress and you're going to take your tapestry needle and put it on the short end of the yarn. Go ahead and center your flower where you would like it, and then just take your short end and go through the front of the dress only, and then take the longer sewing yarn and put that onto your tapestry needle. And then you're going to weave the yarn through just the flower until you get into the inner portion of the flower, and we're going to sew in and out of the center of the flower. Make sure that you're only going through the front of the dress and not sewing the back to the front. And then you're just going to keep going in and out of the inner portion of the circle, going right into the center with your tapestry needle and just sewing your flower on, and then come back when you're done. And on the inside you can see where I tied a knot and buried my loose yarn ends, and you can see the finished flower on the front. And you're all done with your beautiful sundress.